This is a product demo video that I'm submitting to SDF. In this demo, I'll go over some of the features that are currently implemented and some of the features that I want to implement with the help of SDF. So let's get started. uSorabon.app is an online Sorabon playground where you'll be able to get your first interactions and first experience with a Sorabon contract. You'll get to write some code, you'll get to interact with them, all with zero setup, and you can do it on your phone even. So let's get started with a basic contract. So this is a sort of the most basic contract you can implement. It does nothing, but it'll be able to show us some of the basic features of this playground. If we click compile, goes to the compiler service, and using cargo and Rust, it compiles an executable file. So we can see it's 100 bytes. We're not exporting any interface functions, and the interface section here is a little sad and empty. But we can quickly change that by adding a function here. So this function is going to be just a test function that's not going to do anything other than return a number, specifically an unsigned integer. This is the only supported type at the moment in the playground, and we're going to return 42, of course. All right, so the contract is 159, and we now have a single interface function, and the button here represents a function call of the contract. It's all in browser, so I'm simulating a host environment to enable some of the features that I'll show you later. But let's go ahead and click this and see the result. So we can see the left-hand side contains sort of the console or the terminal section, and I'll show you what the right-hand side does later. So if we click it multiple times, we can click it as fast as we want. We'll see that it's very responsive because it's all in the browser. There's no server-to-server calls to interact with the contract. So let's make this a little more interesting, and let's add some state, okay? So to put something into storage, we need a key, and I'm just gonna use a symbol and declare it over here. So let's call this the value field and initialize it with value. Okay. Now I'm going to keep this test function and just add another function that's going to increment a given value. Okay, and it'll return a uint 32. Okay, first up, we got to fetch the value, the existing value from storage. So we'll go ahead and bring up storage, then get the value, unwrap it or initialize it to 0. And then at this point, we're sure we got a value and unwrap it. Okay, so an increment function increments a value, so just incremented by 1, and let's return it. Let's see, I know this is not the full version, but let's just see it in action. So we have test, prints 42, and if we click increment, it returns 1. And that's not what we expected, and this sort of discovery is enabled by this fast turnaround loop of going code to interaction very quickly. So we can go ahead and edit our contract and see that, you know, we're incrementing this, but we're not interacting with the storage to put the value back. And that's easy enough to do. Just call storage.set with the key and the new value. Okay, let's see the update. And let's call test 42, still works. 1, so now if we click it again, it's 2, it's 3, it's 4, and so forth. And on the right hand side, you can see the current ledger storage state, and it only has 1 key and the value 4. So this is sort of like a historic list of all of the interactions, and to the right you see the most latest state. We can call this as fast as we want, same thing. Now let's say we wanted to have an argument, right? We want to increment it by a specific amount. Easy enough. We declare a new function, call this inc by, and then let's accept an increment value, which is another u32. Again, this only works with u32s as arguments, but later I'll support everything. All right, I think we can take most of this and just modify this one line to increment it by the increment. And let's go ahead and compile this. So increment still works, but if we call inc by, we can see that we're prompted for an increment value. And let's go 10, and we can see it went from 7 to 17. Call this again, let's do 100, and boom. So we'll call increment, it increments by 1, increment by, incremented by 10. All right, so that's sort of the feature set, some of the capabilities, and in the future, there's going to be a lot of interactions from account to account, composing transactions, actually interacting with the FutureNet, and tons of other stuff that I can't describe over here. But yeah, super excited to build this out to the full extent. And if you have any questions, please ping me on Discord or Twitter. Thank you.